Hey
Hello.
y'all,
How you doing?
and yeah, and we should I guess we'll be getting some comments in from folks coming in and get ourselves going. And we are talking about taking care of yourself first, which is streaming along the bottom of our screen. But before we get started, we of course have to kick off the intro.
Go for it.
Go for it. All right, here we go, y'all.
We're back.
Hey, yeah. So here I go, messing with stuff, or I'm just
What are
touching
you
buttons over here.
doing? Oh, for
I'm just
crying
touching
out loud.
buttons. I'm just touching buttons.
All right, this is serious. A lot. Actually, I had some people say that this is a really good topic because people are going through some stuff right now, or at least they are thinking about repositioning themselves in their lives. Would you mind doing me a favor? The music in the background is a little loud.
Oh, is it?
Just yeah, on the yeah, it's a little hurt on the ears, and that's what happens when you're above a certain age. It's like it's so loud. I sound like my grandmother. Could you stop playing all that bippity bop bop bop? It's loud in my ears. So anyway, so here is I want to kind of set the stage at this time, Jason, because I've had a lot of conversations with people over the past few weeks since the new year has started, really talking about their um their new year's resolution or their promise to themselves, and a lot of the conversation has been around how to take care of yourself. So I'll start with the analogy that many people have used to really talk about how to really give to yourself, and that is the airplane analogy, right? When the flight attendant gives the instructions on how to be safe on an airplane, and they talk about the loss of cabin pressure. They say the mask will fall down from the ceiling. And the first thing they say to you is put your mask on first before helping others. And so let's frame the next 20 minutes or so around what that means, because I think even for me, that has been a hard uh, piece of advice to follow because I am a servant person. I naturally like to do things for others. I feel get pleasure from helping other people, assisting other people. And then I turn around and I'm collapsed on the floor, right? That's because I didn't take care of myself. And in order to really take care of people and model what are good, healthy habits, you have to be able to demonstrate those in yourself, because then you really have a story to tell people when you have been empathetic to what people are experiencing and feeling.
All right. So, I do want to just chime in and say a few things. And please also let me know if my voice is not matching with the video.
Your
Okay.
voice is matching with the video.
Because it didn't seem like it for you on my end.
Oh,
But,
okay.
we talked, I've seen some comments from a few folks. And one individual, said that, she spent so much time helping other people that she doesn't even know how to help herself. And I just thought that was very interesting, to read. But I think it was good that she even recognized it.
Mm.
And I think what's very important and perhaps most poignant for us, and I think for just parents out there, or people who have, taken care of a loved one for a period of time, whether it be a parent or, whatever the case may be. Um, and especially as parents, you're so focused on the kids, right? That you don't really find the time to help yourself or take care of yourself. And I recollect the time for us, we didn't take a vacation, like a couple vacation, where it's just me and you, for 10 years until after, the kids were born. And so, that's the kind of thing that, one could say that that's not healthy to do, right? And perhaps it wasn't. But you and I also had that um, we were on the same page in that we didn't want anybody else necessarily, we didn't want to put our kids off on anybody else, including our parents. We wanted our parents to enjoy their time off. They don't have to raise our kids. And so we kind of, you know, did that to ourselves, I guess you could say, in essence. But anyway, with that being said, I want, to just chime in that fashion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think if I had to do it over again, if we had conversations, I would have leaned more into the help that's offered. So here's a couple of guiding points. Let me also put this as a caveat. Like I have a DR in front of my name, but I am the doctor of philosophy, meaning I just kind of think about stuff. We and Jason and I are not prescribing that this is what you do. We're taking the things from our own experiences and we're just sharing them as possibilities. So, just a disclaimer there. But what I want to share as maybe a tool is, or something to think about, is when people actually offer to help you, take them up on that offer. When they say, "Oh, just call me one day. I'll be happy to watch the kids for a little while you and such go out on a date." Take them up on that offer. They're there to support you for a reason, and to go, "No, I don't want to burden you." When the person just offered you the opportunity for you to have a good time and reestablish a relationship with a loved one, or a pampering time for yourself, take them up on that offer. The second thing I would say is start thinking about why it is that you might be pushing back and not taking the gift that's given to you. What has been conditioned with you over time that has made you to push? The anecdote that I will share is a little bit about how I was raised in a household full of women who basically took charge. And that mental model was in my head. And that's how I grew up thinking: I take charge. And that rest or accepting help was a sign of weakness. As a Black woman, that's also part of the conditioning of how to survive. I don't think that is healthy. We know it isn't. It actually creates scars and creates conditions that actually perpetuate a very negative stereotype and a negative bad habit. And so thinking about where does that come from and begin unpacking that helps you be able to think about ways to help support a more thriving lifestyle. And then the last thing that I will say is it's not too late. It's not too late to begin thinking about yourself, and it's not selfish to think about yourself. Again, going back to the analogy, to be able to put on that mask first. For you to be able to help someone else, you have to be well, right? You have to have a good frame of mind. You have to have healthy thought habits, healthy physical habits, emotional habits, to be able to pass on the best gift and the goodness, to be able to support the other human being you say you want to help. So those are just three tools, three strategies, three recommendations to consider. Some of those may resonate with you. Well, we would love if people are on and they're watching, or if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you have the capability of typing in a comment or a question. That's one of the things that Jason and I like to do, is engage in the audience. We don't necessarily want to be the talking heads, but this is so important right now that as people are thinking about the new year, as they're thinking about starting anew, this is a good time to recommit to yourself in some form or fashion. And the last thing I'll say, Jason, is today I was talking with someone, and she made such an interesting point. And that is, she made a promise that she's not going to start again, right? She's not thinking about, well, for the last year when I made this commitment to lose weight, or made the commitment to go to the gym, or made the commitment to eat differently, that, oh, so I didn't do it, so I'm going to start something new. Like, our lives are iterative processes, right? And you're just going to pick up and move forward. You just pick up and keep going, right? We learn from failure. And in fact,
That's true.
we are conditioned not to fail. And again, personally, as a Black woman, failure, failure was not an option, right? Because there were so many odds against who I am in this country, in this world, presenting as female, as African American, that to fail almost gives in to the oppressive state, and at the same time is very oppressive to strive for perfection, which is not
Yeah,
in is not in our nature to want to be perfect.
but and look, I would say that that's not even just the Black women. I mean, that's for like men and women. I mean, that's just something that we as a people have succumbed to, where we feel like we have to do twice as much. We have, there's
Sure.
just so, we're the last hired, first fired. That's all, those are the thoughts that always creep
Mhm.
into our minds. And so that's why we wind up perhaps putting more in than, than we should. And I think that's something that we have to just grapple with internally. So, I do want to just take a moment here, really, too, to again, and Kendra, you said this to folks who are watching, to please, submit comments or ask questions, so we can have some engagement, and we can, have more of a dialogue of what people are saying and thinking and things like that. So, but Cindy Truitt actually put up a post, and what I can do is do this, because apparently the overlay is not working. Um, but we need to teach girls this early, so they don't have to be like the rest of us and figure out in middle age that we should take care of ourselves. And this is so true. And I would circle back to what we kind of discussed last week, right? And how our parents raise us, and what we teach girls versus what we teach boys. And we buy the dollhouse for the girl, right? We buy the action figures for the boys, and the girls get the little baby with the diaper, and they show them how to take care of the baby. This is all like prep, and this is what's going on in the mind. And so um, it does lead to a train of thought. Is quite frankly what it does. Uh, what we really need to do is get people to start teaching their children how to be independent, how to make themselves happy, especially in this age of social media, where everybody's trying to, get likes and do all of these other things. And really, again, let's get back to taking care of yourself first. And I think that's what's that's what this particular episode is about. But
Can
let's
I
see what
can
else.
I can
Go
I
ahead.
challenge something you said, and that
Mhm.
is about the use of the term being independent.
Mhm.
I think I get where you were going, but I also want to explore that a little bit more and actually frame it differently. I believe in teaching kids to be collaborative, and and really taking care of each other. What we're running up against, or what we've run
Mhm.
up against, is a very competitive, very single-minded. It is leads to the likes, me mentality. And so being able to raise children and having them think about how they as a person gives the gift of kindness and a gift of service to themselves and to someone else. And that does
Mhm.
mean shifting the mindset. And And unfortunately, we are in a capitalistic society where competition is the foundation of success, right? It's the raising of the ladder, is who's going to get the most money. I mean, we are a nation of abundance, right? It's the who can get the big box meal, the extra value, such and such, right? Everything is about if you have it bigger, it's better. And that also is inclusive of how we compete with each other, which is why social media has, I'm saying it like social media is this other thing. Companies, those who are, advertising are leveraging this tool to be able to continue to have kids fight over, have adults fight over who has the market share. And that's what you're seeing come to fruition. What I'm saying, and even those recommendations, what I think I hear Cindy saying, I think I hear Monica saying, Amy is saying, is for having our children, but even beyond that, I always say we're not dead, right? So until we say our last breath, we're continuously learning, we're continuously growing, and we're continuously changing who we are. So being able to have kids who are supporting each other and building healthy habits to support themselves will change that model. I mean, let's face it, Jason,
Well,
the number
hey,
of kids who are experiencing many mental health issues, the number of adults who we know as young kids, we had relatives and we just kind of turned the other way, and that was just cousin such and such, he's different or she's different,
well,
and not addressing some of those needs that in some cases are perpetuated with that mindset.
so I mean, I'm going to go down this path of, and I actually I'm going to push back as well on the thought. Teaching someone, you know, to be caring, and there are certain things that are just innate in people, right?
Hmm.
My mother has taught me to be independent, and I think that has helped me in spades through the years, right? And this gets to one of the things what Monica even put. I love the thought of changing or trying after failing, and for me, just because I was a very independent person didn't mean that I didn't care or I didn't look out
Sure,
for my brother and all
of
of that
course.
stuff. But I think what we lose, perhaps in our independence, is that we don't want to take up those offers. We don't want
Maybe
to
it's
take up
not
those offers that
independence,
people.
Jason. Maybe it's
But
responsibility.
well, I mean, well, we
Maybe the
could
word.
debate back and forth, but I mean, it is what it is. But I think what it is for me specifically, right? And again, I want to stay on topic of taking care of yourself first. Is you have to you have to put on that mask for yourself first. You have to make yourself happy in order for you to make the people around you happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, true. I
And
definitely.
so I think we need to really just lock in on that. And I do want to go to the comments because we're already at 16 minutes, and I'm just trying to monitor time and
Yeah, and I
and
think
really
people
engage.
are being responsive to some of the things that we're saying, right? And part
Yeah.
of it is that discovery piece. So, how about this? The next few minutes to be thinking about, for us, what are we doing at this point that we've learned that is, I mean, what are you doing to take care of yourself now? Now that we know better and we're learning learning more, now that we in this space, I mean, I think to Cindy's point, like being early, but again, we're in a constant state of learning. So here you and I are, we have children or sons that are out of the house, we are finding us. So what are you doing to take care of yourself first, and then I'll share some of the things I'm doing to take care of myself, and then how that works with us as a collective, in a collective partnership.
So here's where I would say, look, I'm and this especially came through post COVID and everything else, is really finding a level of independence in in not needing a job, the typical job in a sense, but really trying to build a model, through managing Julian and managing finances and maybe doing some other different things there, um, and just really focusing on my health and well-being, business, and really just trying to grow from that vantage point. I know, and again, I know as a couple, we are trying to find ourselves through traveling and going out to places. I do enjoy cooking meals at home and doing those things. It does bring a joy for me. So so that's what I'm doing right there, just in short. So you
Mhm.
go ahead. I mean, I'm just trying to keep
Yeah.
everything succinct. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things that I have been working on in order to be a better wife, in order to be a better friend, is I have been building a community. So whether that is being in book club with some of you who are on, whether it is having a monthly brunch with some of the girls, having some get-togethers, I'm building a community and really trying to make sure that I have a sisterhood, a family community that is loving, right? So I'm being very purposeful about having positive, loving people in my life and pushing out the negativity that kind of hung around that maybe even just seeped into my head. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I wrote a book, right? So many people might have seen, but the writing of the book was therapeutic. It was a way to be able to articulate the things that were wrestling in my head, the emotions that I was pushing down, that I like I was out to pop, like I was able to put it in words. And the book that Kelly and I have written is part of taking care of myself. It's a way to support um, my own rehabilitation, as I call it. I am in self love rehab. And
Okay.
I think you've noticed, Jason, that like my persona's different, right? Probably much happier or less stressed.
Yes, thank God.
Shut up. Okay. So you don't start nothing in here. And then this is how they're gonna see the other part. And some people know us.
Y'all ready for it to go off the rails?
Shut up. We trying.
Are y'all ready for it to go off the rails?
We've been trying to be all professional.
No,
Don't you
you've been trying to be professional. I'm ready to
Yes,
take
I
it off the
am.
rails.
Daggone it. Okay. See, the next that's it. Let me
So
try
so
to heal myself first
woosah.
before I do
You
some
got
damage.
I mean, because otherwise it just gets academic. But I do want to say, I do I do want to say thank you, Kelly. That's right.
Carlotta, you're wrong.
The rails.
Shut up, Jason, before I come out there and knock you out.
So so look, why don't we take a time, because this is a good time, right? This is self-plug time. This is self-plug time. All right, because yes.
Did you say
and
self-plug? Did you say self-plug?
yes, Kendra has, along with her partner Kelly Peeps Horner,
Yes.
right? And I'm going to share my screen. So folks, I'm going to be a
You're muted. Hmm. Can you hear me? It must be your earphones. So since Jason is mucking it up on the DJ side, I'm gonna go ahead. See, he's muted. God is trying to tell you something. All right. So let me go ahead and do this. You are muted, Jason. Somehow we can't hear you. So book, right? Really, to be honest about the book, Kelly and I wrote it about our experiences being women in the world of educational leadership, and continuously thinking about our lived experiences, our way that we've grown up. And this book is part of our self healing. This is a way for us to awaken who we are, who we've been. And so we're so happy to share this with the many men and women and family members who've been surrounding us. The book comes out on Tuesday. Some people have asked, like, where can I buy it? So, disclaimer, we would love for you to buy it at the location we're going to share tomorrow, because we really want to make sure we're giving the support to independent booksellers. We want to be in community with those who are supportive of our work and of the work of women and the work of people of color. And so we're going to really ask that you try not to purchase the book from Amazon, right? Jeff Bezos got a lot of money already, but we are going to identify a particular organization where you can get the book. Now, if Amazon is where you want to go, that's great. But I'll just tell you now that we really want to live into our values and support independent sellers, primarily women-owned bookstores. So proceeds from the sale of our book will go to support those small independent bookstores. So that's why, please, if you have it in pre-order in Amazon, take it out. Wait for us to tell you where you can get the book from. Purchase the book and join us on Tuesday of next week at 7 p.m., where Kelly and I will share a little bit more about the journey. But all that to say is Jason and I are embarking on our own self-healing, our own wellness activities, so that we can actually be there for each other and be there for all of you who support us. I think we can hear you now.
You can hear me now, right?
Yes.
I don't know, something went wrong. So
that was because you were being mean to me and we're trying to go off the rails. And that was God's way of saying, yeah, you can do all of that you want. Apparently it wasn't working.
I wonder who knows what that even means.
Yeah, please.
Whoever's in the chat, I want to see if somebody knows what that means. You do that.
For you, it almost looks like it's this. It's this. Yours look more like alien antenna.
You look like alien antenna.
That's why you married me, because you're attracted to alien antenna.
There we go. Yes.
Oh, Yvonne.
Yes. Yvonne got it.
Thank you, Yvonne. Until you do right by me, everything you touch gonna what? Crumble, like crumble cookies, which is quite delicious. I can go for one right now.
So
yes, thank you.
Well, what do we gotta till you do right by me? That's right. Yeah, Kendra, until you do right by me.
Apparently, I've been doing right by you because everything ain't crumbling.
Well, listen, I've been doing right by you, and I'm your best half. So,
I'm the better half according to my name.
Okay, well, we'll leave it at that. So what other questions do people? Let me see. What other questions do people have? So I think I do want to just go back to something. Cindy said that the cycle has to be broken, where we take care of others until actually, let me just read what she put here. Let me put it up on the screen for everybody. And it doesn't scroll, but basically, women being raised to give and do for others to the point of self-sacrifice. I think we can get that way as parents. Again, I do want to lock in on that real quick. And again, this actually takes the form of, even when we, as we get older and our parents, for us who still have parents alive, mine have both passed already. But there was a point where I had gone back and forth, as Kendra could attest, where I was going back and forth and taking care of my parents in their last months of their lives, and that can take a toll on an individual emotionally. It can take a toll, of course, on a marriage, especially if you have, perhaps a parent at home, or who comes into the house, and I've seen that happen as well. And it can really, put people's marriages to the test. It puts their households to the test, and so I think it's really helpful for us to understand the dynamics in which we have these circumstances. But, in all seriousness, because, those who know me know I like to joke around a lot, I like to play around a lot. But in all seriousness, when you have that dynamic at hand, when that ends, if, when you can take breaks, take those breaks, because you
Yeah.
got to take care of yourself.
Well, and also take the offering. When people say, I know you've been helping your mother or father or family member, we have some friends who are taking care, they're basically the nurse taking care of their parents. They're bathing them, they're feeding them, they're lifting them, they're taking them out, they're waking them up in the morning. And that's exhausting emotionally and physically. And when people come around, neighbors, friends, other family members, and say, take the time, I'll watch mom for you. Why don't you go on out? Take it. I've seen many friends and family members who've absolutely gone to they've broken down, right? They've at wit's end, and then they're no good and they can't take care of mom because now they're in trouble. So to your point, accept the help and ask for it too. And again, we have to condition ourselves that that does not mean it's a sign of weakness. It's actually, I mean, you're being given a gift. It's a gift of kindness and service. So to accept that.
Yeah, but and listen, I tell you, that sounds great, and I'm going to push back a little bit on it. Um, having gone through, you know, again, both parents in those last moments, because it's heart wrenching, and it can be emotionally distressful. There is a difficulty. It's one thing for somebody to take care of your kids, but it's also a different thing to take care of, your ailing parent or your ailing sibling, and because there's a dignity that's there, and um, it's just tough. It's just
Yeah,
tough.
and I'm
So
not suggesting, Jason, that they do everything that you were doing, but
I know,
a brief
but
respite.
the respite, it's like it really doesn't let up. I mean, it's very, until you're in it, you really, you know, you got to really get into it, and really experience it. But I know that the emotion that you feel when you're going through that process, it's really tough because you're looking at your parent, um, who you love dearly, perhaps, and you're seeing them come to their end, and it's tough.
Mhm.
Um, and so, with that, I would say, look, we get to our point, right? Like you and I are at this point where it's like, look, we're gonna go do this. We're gonna go have fun. We're gonna go out. We're gonna hang out. Um, and and we can do that, thankfully, at this point, at this juncture. So, you know, the respite for us is now. What we have to be mindful of is going, what, well, I still got one more thing to do in it. Because that's how you've been. You've been like that for quite some time. And I've been the one pushing you for years to be like, hey, look, you need to move on to another job. You need to move on to doing something else. And so, I have to tell you in this moment right now that I'm very proud of the fact that, you and Kelly have worked on this book. I've seen you go through your PhD program, and people who have watched a couple of the episodes know that we, have done our best to, one person's doing their thing, if you're doing the book or doing your PhD program or meet a master's, the other one's holding down the fort. So I'm very proud of you and what you and Kelly have managed to put together. Hey, Kelly, if you're out there, I'm just waving to you. So, these are the things, again, putting out that book is taking care of yourself, right? Taking that trip is taking care of yourself. Taking time to be by yourself, not feeling like you're alone, but taking time to really be by yourself. Do that, meditate. These are all things that you got to do for yourself.
Or have massages, right? Get a massage. My
Yeah.
mother, my mother is, I can't believe this. Y'all know Karen Washington. Goodness gracious. But she's part of a senior group and she goes to aerobics on Mondays and Wednesdays. She is now in a bowling league and they just asked her to join pickleball, y'all. Karen Washington.
My brother's doing pickleball.
Who's doing pickleball?
Rob.
Are you serious?
Rob is doing pickleball.
What? This is
He's
like
going into a pickleball league.
Oh, Lord have mercy. And there you go. So even if it's not pickleball, like I think to Jason's point, find joy while you can find it. And really think about when you're like, just do it tomorrow. No, I don't have it. Or no, I can't do this. Like really think about why you're putting it off. And it could be really good, legitimate reasons why you're putting it off, but really do those things that are going to bring you joy, bring you smile, give you energy. Yes, my mom is going to do pickleball, but do y'all know her knees? Her mind might be like pickleball, but her knees is probably like, sit down. So we'll see. She's supposed to start tomorrow.
I need to know where she's going to be.
Please, excuse me. Everyone, Rhodes Jordan Park. Rhodes Jordan Park from 10 to 12.
I need to go see the pickleball playing.
Lunch break to Rhodes Jordan Park from 10 to 12 to see the Karen Washington and pickleball. I don't know.
What time is the pickleball?
I said 10 to 12. Pickleball. That Rhodes Jordan Park.
I have to go somewhere tomorrow.
Do you? Me too. I think I got to pick up something from the post office. Do people do that anymore? But I didn't pick up something from the post office at 10.
You still get mail?
I don't know. Does the post office still exist? I don't even know. Yeah. Okay, so we're a little bit over, but does anyone have questions or comments before we end? Because I think the the New York Nets plays somebody tonight. I think I need to watch the basketball game.
Well,
basketball. Anything?
I'd like, I'm going to put out a question to the people who are watching. Just,
to the people.
Yes. And you know what? Even if you're watching this as a recording later on, add your comments. What are you doing, right, to take care of yourself? Name one or two things that you're going to do, to take care of yourself first. Because look, this show is finding us. And I know Kendra has gone into a whole theory on everything, but this is all about all of us finding ourselves.
Was that a little bit of shade?
That was shade.
What I'm gonna find right now is a little bit of the swig of this Dr. Pepper.
Uh-oh. Because the rails, man. Look, I want to have some fun too. I want to have there to be some serious stuff. I mean, because look, there's some serious stuff we got to talk about. But I like going off the rails a little bit.
God help me.
Rails. All right. Yeah. So if everybody can, just start thinking about those things. And look, what are you going to do to take care of yourself first? Anybody like to go on a cruise? Because Kendra does not like to go on cruises.
Well, it's not that I don't like to go on cruises. I actually suffer seriously from motion sickness. So
So that includes trains.
I actually take sometimes I have to take medicine on a plane, Dramamine and things like that. So yeah, I'm not getting on a cruise to throw up. Cindy can cruise with
Yes,
you.
indeed.
Thank you, Cindy and her husband. Please take Jason with you the next time, because part of finding us and also experiencing joy is having time alone. And so Jason being on a cruise with y'all for 7 days while I'm home alone is absolutely joy.
So here, let me take real quick, because I know, look, we're way over, but I got to say this. So one of the things that I want to do, right? Talk about taking care of yourself first, is I want to take a train ride, like get in a sleeper car and like go across country. So from like Atlanta to LA, right? And I was saying this to, a couple days ago. I was like, oh man, I want to take this cross country train ride and blah, 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 right? It's like 2 or 3 days. Lo and behold, a news story comes up where the people were stuck on the train like 24 to 48 hours, stuck like in one place, and there's Kendra. See?
Well,
So,
same thing. Cruises is like, oh, I want to go on a cruise. Neurovirus, like it's like, oh no. So okay, so Cindy says, come on, but I let's end with this. One thing that Candace shared was the quiet Bible study time every morning. So for those of you who want to practice getting closer to your spirit, to your higher power, um, writing, journaling, she said being intentional about eating. I'm doing that. So I'm doing a different type of fasting, right? I start eating at noon and nothing after 8 o'clock.
was that
Um,
peanut butter and jelly sandwich included in that better eating?
yes, yes, it was peanut butter and jelly. Um, and again, just
That's Candace.
whatever is going to tickle your fancy, that brings you again joy, brings you smile. That those are the things you. And if you've been missing those, if those are things you've been putting off for a while, I always ask this question, like, when is the last time you actually like belly knee slapped laugh? Like, when was the last time that you laughed so hard you almost wet yourself? Like, when is the last time you had that level of fun and
Oh,
joy?
you know what? Yes. You know what? We need to end on that note too.
Okay.
I need to know where to find that daggone high school band.
Oh, yeah, I sent it to you. We can't. That's horrible. I'm an educator and I can't do that with my friends right now. That's probably I can't do that to the children,
What?
even though the children did that to the adults. We will have that for a later time, but we want to say
See
Happy
what I'm
New
talking
Year to
about?
you all.
Anyway,
Happy,
so all right, let me
happy.
read a few of the comments. So um, exercise and reading for fun. Yep. Look, but most of all, sleeping late. Carlotta, yes. This is one of the comments that, look, you got to sleep late sometimes. Do that.
And for
Uh,
all of you who said reading,
anybody mention sex? That's a killer. That's a no.
really, we're
Anyway,
going
I,
there.
I
We're going
journal.
there.
I'm trying to read more. Try to
Let me
limit how
just
much
sink in my chair
work you
right
take from home.
now.
What did you say, Kendra?
Nothing. Gotta bring up sex in the video.
Well, hey, look, that's a part of life.
It is what circle of life. Yes,
About
thank
an
you.
hour between up, I drop my daughter off. That's right. Listen, you have to, find time, speak to your family members, call somebody and just say hello. Um, these are all things that we want to do. So anyway, we are well past our time of 30 minutes, but I like to incorporate what people have put out here and um and read those off. So
Mhm.
you want to say anything else and take us out?
Yeah, there was one other comment just to uplift that someone shared, and that is they like to work out, and this person does extra work. She is an extra on movies. So she's back into acting and she does background work on movies. So that's a way of her exploring another avenue of her creative side. So I wanted to share that since she was unable to write it here, she sent it me by text.
Oh,
So
okay.
just addressing everyone's needs. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So listen up, everybody. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us and having these chats. We're gonna have some guests at some point. I want to say, and so just to make it even more dynamic and have some more discussion. So thanks to everybody. Tune in next week.
Which should be real interesting because we'll be in the same room next week. So they don't
We'll,
think that we're like married, but violent single.
we will be in the same room next week.
We'll
You
be in
know,
the same room next week. So check out where we're going to be and maybe you can find us next
that's
week.
right. That's
Mhm.
right.
Play on
So
words.
everybody, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.